Welcome to Backbone Unlimited. My name is Matt Hartsky. In this episode, we're going to talk about what I wish I knew before my first solo elk hunt. And this one matters more than a lot of guys realize because elk hunting alone sounds simple. It sounds like freedom, nobody to slow you down, no compromises, no distractions, just you and the mountain. But the reality a lot of times can be very different. When you're solo, every decision is yours, every mistake is yours. There's nobody to check in on you, nobody to help you, no one to fix it when things start to go sideways. And if you're not prepared for all of those things, it can show up pretty fast and hurt you in the long run. If you're not familiar with who I am, I've been hunting and guiding Western big game for over 34 years, and I've been a professional strength conditioning and nutrition coach for more than 30 years. And I'm here to help you become a more successful and consistent elk hunter and outdoorsman. In this episode, I'm going to walk you through some of the things I learned the hard way so you don't have to, because solo elk hunting isn't just harder, it's different. And if you understand that going in ahead of time, it can change everything for you. Before my first solo elk hunt, I thought I was ready. I had the gear, I had the maps, I put in time scouting, spent time in the mountains, I was fit, and I felt confident walking in. And on paper, it all looked like I should have been prepared. But there's a difference between thinking you're ready and actually being ready when everything is on you. Most elk hunters overestimate a few key things going into a solo elk hunt. Fitness is one of them. You might be in good shape, but moving through steep, uneven terrain day after day under load with nobody to share the workload, it hits different when you're packing all your camp on your back. Navigation is another. It's easy when things are clear and you're fresh. It's a different story when you're tired or it's getting dark and there's nobody there to help double check you. And then there's decision making. When you're solo, there's no backup, no second opinion, nobody to say, hey, slow down, or that doesn't feel right. Every call you make, where to go, when to move, when to commit on elk, it's all on you. And that's the part a lot of folks don't understand fully going in, because elk preparation isn't just knowledge. It's not what you've read or watched necessarily, or even practiced a few times. Preparation is tested experience. It's how you respond when things don't go as planned, when you're tired, you're uncertain and alone. And until you've really felt that, you're not as prepared as you think you are. So one of the biggest adjustments on a solo elk hunt, I think, is realizing how much slower everything becomes. Before I ever did it, I thought I'd move faster, right? No waiting on other people, no group decisions, just me covering ground and getting after it. But the opposite can be true. Movement can be slower, right? Every decision takes time because it has to. You're constantly checking your position, confirming your route, and making sure you're not drifting off the plan. Terrain decisions matter a lot more, and route finding isn't something you rush. When you're alone, a small mistake can turn into a big problem, right? And it doesn't stop there. Hunting itself slows down. Setups take longer because you're doing everything yourself. There's nobody to watch the wind while you move, nobody to cover a second angle, nobody to help manage the situation. Everything falls on you, and that means you have to be more deliberate. Then there's recovery. Even before the shot, you have to think about it. Where will the elk go? How will you get it out? How far are you from help? Those questions influence every move you make. The mistake a lot of hunters make is trying to hunt at a group or a pair pace, right? When they're solo, they push too hard, they rush decisions, and they try to force efficiency where it doesn't exist. But solo hunting doesn't reward speed. It rewards more control because solo hunting punishes impatience. The part that nobody really prepares you for with solo elk hunting isn't just physical either. It's the mental side of things. When you're out there alone, there's nobody to confirm anything, nobody to say, stay here, or let's move, or, let's try this instead. Every decision is yours, and that pressure builds faster than a lot of people expect. And that's where doubt can start to creep in. Am I in the right spot? Should I move? Did I just mess that up? Those questions don't go away, they get louder. And the quiet of the mountains amplifies those. There's no distraction, no conversation, no outside input, just you in your head, right? Your thoughts, and you're not grounded, that can start working against you. That's when mistakes happen. When you move when you shouldn't, you rush setups, you second guess solid decisions and abandon them too early, not because you don't know better, but because the pressure gets to you. And the reality is, mental fatigue hits a lot faster when you're alone. Every decision, every adjustment, every evaluation, it all stacks up. There's no break from it. You're still in your head all the time. That's why confidence in solo hunting can't come from emotion. It can't come from just feeling good or trying to stay positive. It has to come from preparation. That's what you lean on. From knowing you've thought through scenarios ahead of time, from having experience you can fall back on, and from trusting your process when things get uncertain. Because when you're alone, your mindset isn't just important, it's everything. When you're hunting solo, your margin for error gets a lot smaller. Things that might be minor issues in a group or a pair become serious problems when you're alone. Navigation mistakes matter more. If you drift off your line or misjudge terrain or lose track of where you are, there's no one to catch it, right? What could have been a quick correction turns into wasted time, lost energy, or worse, putting yourself in a bad situation late in the day. Weather exposure is another one. A sudden shift in conditions, getting caught too far from shelter, underestimating how fast things can change, it all carries more weight when you're by yourself. There's no backup plan except the one you built. And then there's injury risk, a rolled ankle, a fall, even something minor. It becomes much bigger to deal with when you're alone, miles from help. Shot decisions, those matter more too, because once you release that arrow or pull that trigger, recovery is 100% on you. You're tracking, breaking down that animal, packing it out, right? All by yourself. That means multiple trips, long hours, and a serious drain on your time and energy. And that's the reality a lot of hunters don't fully think through. Every single decision carries more consequence. Every mistake costs more. And that's why you have to operate differently, because solo elk hunting doesn't forgive sloppy decisions. Hey, if you hunt public land elk and you're tired of grinding through random seasons, I built the elk hunting series of ebooks for you. Most hunters don't struggle because they lack effort. They struggle because they lack a system. And that's exactly why I built the elk hunting ebook series as a complete progressive framework for Western elk hunters who are done guessing and ready to hunt with intention. Volume 1 is going to be Foundations and Reality. I reset your mindset and expose the assumptions that quietly wreck seasons. In Volume 2, Finding Elk and Understanding Pressure, you'll learn how elk actually move under pressure so you can anticipate instead of react. In Volume 3, Terrain, Wind, and Position, I break down how to use landscape and thermals to consistently create opportunities. In Volume 4, Calling, Silence, and Pressure, sound becomes a decision tool, not an impulse. In Volume 5, Bow Hunting Execution, we're talking about close range strategy so you can finish your encounters. And in Volume 6, Late Season and Post Rut, we're talking about how elk shift after the rut and how to adapt when others quit. This is a system built for consistency. This isn't theory, it's a structured system to help you find elk, read country, and make confident decisions every season. Buy each volume individually or bundle them all to save 50% off at backboneunlimited.com. Now, if there's one lesson that matters more than anything in solo elk hunting, at least to me, it's this: simplicity wins. When you're alone, you don't have the margin for overcomplication. You don't have the backup to recover from risky decisions or the extra help to execute complex plans. Everything has to be cleaner, tighter, and more controlled, and that starts with movement. You don't need to cover as much ground as you think. You need to move with purpose. Every step should have a reason behind it, not just a feeling that you need to do more either. Setups should be simple too. High percentage, controlled situations where you understand the wind, the terrain, and your position. Not necessarily always aggressive or high risk plays that depend on everything going perfectly either. And decisions, this is where it really shows up. When you're solo, your decisions need to be clear and repeatable, not emotional, not rushed, not based on pressure or doubt. The more complicated your plan is, the easier it is to break down when things don't go exactly right. And that's the mistake a lot of folks make. They try to do too much, too many moves, too many adjustments, too much forcing things to happen. But the reality is, when you're alone, less is more. Simpler movement, simpler setups, simpler decisions. Because simplicity is what keeps you consistent, and consistency is what gives you a real chance to succeed in elk country. Most elk hunters go into a solo elk hunt expecting freedom and independence. And a lot of that's true, right? Nobody to slow them down, no compromises, total control over every decision. I love that aspect of it. Absolutely. It's absolutely true, but it's only half the picture because the reality of solo hunting isn't just freedom, it's also responsibility and consequence. Every decision is yours, every mistake is yours, every outcome, good or bad, falls back on you. There's nobody there to share the load, nobody to fix problems, and no one to step in when things don't go as planned. And that changes how you have to approach the hunt. You have to be more disciplined, more controlled, more aware of the risks and the trade offs behind every single move you make. That's the shift. Solo hunting isn't about proving how tough you are, even though that helps. It's about how well you can manage yourself, your effort, your decisions, your expectations, your planning when everything depends on you. Because in the end, success in a solo elk hunt doesn't just come from freedom, it comes from how well you handle the responsibility that comes with it. Now, if you want to go deeper into elk movement, pressure patterns, terrain positioning, and structured decision making, that's exactly why I built the elk hunting series of ebooks. It's a progressive system designed to help you understand exactly how elk use country and how to position yourself accordingly. I have a link to those ebooks in the description. If you want hands-on application and real-time breakdowns, we have an in-person Elk Camp 2026 that is built around this same philosophy: structure, preparation, and execution in real time. You can check that out at backboneunlimited.com. And if you want ongoing access to the Team Backbone community, classroom, my full digital vault of elk resources, private discussion, and direct communication to me for planning, you can join Team Backbone at backboneunlimited.com underneath our membership tab. Everything we talk about here is connected. Preparation is not a single video, it's a system. Thanks for being here. Until next time, train harder, hunt smarter, and never settle.